Hey, it's Camo with Nashville Access Facebook Live, the Pie Wagon Sessions, and our guest is tweeting as we speak. Let's get a live tweet session.
Here I am on my phone. On my phone.
Oh, that's like holding a cereal box, holding a cereal.
Right. Okay, I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it right now.
There we go. Share.
And this is actually Facebook, not
Okay, that's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Jessica Ridley.
Hi.
The reason I wanted to sit down with you, you and I have known each other for, what, 7 or 8 years?
A long time, yeah.
I'm not sure what that is in melody is. But you have a really unique story, and I wanted to kind of give people an insight into not everybody who comes to Nashville gets the record deal and becomes a star and goes out touring. A few years ago, you said to me, I moved to Nashville with one dream in mind, and that didn't work out, but I'm still making a living making music. So I thought, let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
So we worked together doing international radio a bunch of years ago, trying to get, and you did really well getting your song.
Yeah, we charted a bunch of singles and.
Yeah. And then you moved to Nashville about the same time I did.
Yep. What was it for you?
2011.
Yeah, me too.
I was like about 3 months ahead of you, I think.
Yeah.
I was there first. So what's kind of happened since you coming to Nashville in pursuit of the dream?
Well, and that's, I mean, I do love the way you even put that, because it has always been a dream of mine to do music, and I think I'm just somebody that's, I don't know, I'm good at lots of things, and I like to do a lot of things, and being on stage is probably the main one. But I love that I've been able to find different ways to still do that. It's not like I'm out there in front of 17,000 people like the reality show.
Yeah. No, you did that. It was called
The Big Time. Yeah, and I got to like open the iHeartRadio Music Festival at the MGM Grand in front of like 17,000 people.
Yeah. And we couldn't tell anybody about it.
And we couldn't tell anybody about it. The story of my life,
because
I feel like.
It happened in like September, but the show wasn't airing until January, February.
Ridiculous. And it was supposed to be this huge deal. In fact, if you watch a clip of it online, when I win, I look like I just won American Idol.
Yeah.
But that's because what they were telling me it was going to be like. It was like this huge deal, and I was like, oh my God, I won! And then it ended up just not really going too far. But what I got out of it was some incredible footage that I used as like a resume.
Yeah.
And I got to play in front of 17,000 people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best days of my life.
The video of that, I mean, you do look like a star.
I felt like it. Like I have chills right now just saying that, because it's like that's what I loved it. I couldn't have been more relaxed if I'd have been in the bubble bath.
So
this is actually more nerve-wracking for me. Like I'm going to play my guitar in a couple minutes, and I have to remember there's like millions of you out there.
No, there's like 6.
It's a head game for me.
So anyway, so the TV show airs, and everything's all ready to go.
Yes.
And
it airs on a Saturday afternoon instead of a Wednesday evening.
Yep.
And you guys were there. I had a big party at my house. It was so fun to just, an experience. But it certainly didn't pan out the way they kind of purported it was going to. And so that probably for me was the highlight of my career so far. I've gotten to open for Luke Bryan in front of a few thousand people.
I remember you telling me about that, and you're backstage like talking about diapers.
Right, because Luke and I like bonded over that, because he was in his tour bus, and a bunch of his kids were, I think he had 2, he still probably does, I'm not sure, but they were there, and so they were saying, oh, I'm so sorry, and I was like, it's all good, I have 4, and they were like, what? So, but yeah, those kind of, a couple things like that have been what most people would label as living the dream. But I also play downtown 4 days a week. And I'm at Honky Tonk Central on the 3rd floor from 2 to 6 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And now I'm at Nudie's. Don't get me started. I'm sorry that was your name, Mr. Nudie, because I feel like when I say that and then I go to the bank and I deposit this many ones all at the same time, I'm like, okay, yes, I work at Nudie's. Like, okay, from the stage.
That's hilarious.
From the stage, like in Honky Tonk Central, I can do like things like, Redneck Woman, that song, I ain't never been the Barbie doll type. And then she's talking about how she'd rather be in a honky tonk. So I always say honky tonk central. And I'll be like, honky tonk central, how are you? I cannot bring myself to be like, hey nudies, what's up? I can't do it. I'm like working up to it. And every time I go to say it, I'm like, how is everyone? I can't do it.
You can say, hey cuties. And they'll think you're
The
saying
nudie cuties. I don't know, whatever. So I'm singing there on Mondays from 2 to 6, and it's a great room. I highly recommend Nudies. It's
The longest bar.
It's the longest bar in Nashville, and it's got amazing sound and great prices. Come see me Mondays. And so I'm doing that, but I'm also a part of a wedding band or two and a country corporate band.
Wow. Now, your country corporate band, you just did a kind of a cool gig. I saw your pictures.
Yes.
You played the Dallas Cowboys' new practice.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool. Yes, and by the way, next year it's on.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
we're both Cowboys fans, both George Strait fans. It's Texas Independence Day today, too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Who knew? Yes, that was actually so I'm part of the 12 South Band, and we got so busy we had to create a second version of that band called the 8 South Band, and it's like just a tiny bit smaller version of the band. That's who I was with for the Dallas Cowboys thing, and then now we have Nash County, which is a corporate events band that does like country covers, because it's kind of like a gimmicky thing to come to town here. And I even played the Grand Ole Opry doing that.
Wow.
But yeah, the stage it was all the tables were on the stage. Like this company paid big bucks to come have their party on stage at the Grand Ole Opry. So I played the Grand Ole Opry, but not really as me. Like, there was all the empty chairs behind me, and we were on the stage playing the stage. So, but yeah, the Dallas Cowboys thing was another huge highlight. Yeah. I mean, the band, it was ridiculous. It was a bit stressful. There was, like, our keyboard player was down for the evening and had like a bad back, and everyone was freaking out. And some sound issues or something were going on, and I was just like on cloud 9, running around like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So I convinced some dude to give me like a backstage tour, or behind the scenes, I should say. And I got to touch like a Super Bowl trophy, and it was amazing.
Neat. So it is a dream. It's just a different.
Exactly. Yeah. I've just had to modify it a bit. And let me just say, making a living in music right now, I'm doing that, and that makes me one of about that many.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta plug a friend for a quick second.
Sure,
If you Reggie Ham, I'm sure you're friends on Facebook, and you probably read his blog.
Yeah.
His take on all of this right now is something I think everyone looking to get into the business should read. Like,
Give us a quick kind of...
Like an example?
Yeah.
He talks a lot about just stuff that I feel is in my everyday life. There's not the money to be made anymore because everybody wants it for free now. So I put out a new song, and people just want to go listen to it on Spotify, and that's fine. I do the same thing. It's
And
all
that
there.
pays you 0.0000.
Yeah. Exactly. So live music is where it's at, and thankfully that's my favorite thing to do. But I've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
I was telling Cameron earlier, I work like 7 different jobs right now. I'm working at a wine store. Yeah. I'm selling essential oils, which I'm really passionate about. I'm teaching piano lessons.
Wow.
Like, what?
And you can't play.
Hey, shut up.
All keys are created equal.
I played piano until I was like 16, and then cars and boys and shopping kind of took over. But it's all up here still, so I'm doing that, and I'm
People
singing,
do that to
singing,
me
singing.
too, but it means a different thing.
So,
And that's it. You're doing a lot of different jobs to support your music habit.
That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. Every time I go into like a friend's studio, or the Grammys are on, or I had a radio friend come to visit a week or 2 ago and was like, "When's the new music coming out?" I'm just like, "Okay, I have new music, but I don't have the money to get it done." So I'm dying to finish.
And a lot of people go the investor route, and you did that.
I've done that.
And you did that.
And done that. Yeah.
And that's another thing too, because a lot of people that come in as investors don't understand the music business, and people that are money people invest and they want a return.
It's a very, like, we always use the word sexy, you
Yeah.
know? It's like a really enticing, like, ooh, I could be behind a star.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when I started this, oh gosh, 10 years ago now, my record, we would joke about it like if nothing happened, it would be an expensive coffee coaster.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
What
is.
it's turned
Because
out.
10 years ago, I spent about $100 grand on that thing.
Yeah.
And now, just that short amount of time later, you can spend $1,500 and get someone in their garage band basement to just, and like I've watched so many dear friends of mine who used to make amazing livings doing this as they should, and now they can charge like $50 to play a track like on a song or to program it or whatever, and it's just sad. It's sad to me.
And yet, I mean, that's the kind of thing. There are kind of two levels to Nashville. There's the level where everybody's doing all right, and then there's everybody that's working hard to be able to support what they want to do, what their dream is.
That's right. And I mean, I hope I don't sound even remotely bitter about it, because I'm
No, you
not.
don't.
I'm trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
And in order to be realistic, I think I just have to do what I'm doing, which is keeping my options open and just doing everything I can to support my lifestyle, which is, you know, basically living in a house and eating dinner.
Eating, yeah.
I'm not talking like trips.
I think I heard the figure that 80% of the songwriters have left Nashville.
Really?
It's something like
It
that.
shocked me.
Yeah.
It shocked me.
And when you have major radio stations that their chart is only 26 songs now, that's tough for
It is
artists
tough.
to break through when that's all that's getting played, except for, you know, smaller stations and internet stations and things like
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Wow. Let's hear some of your music.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to do a song, this is actually a couple years old, and this one is finished. It's on iTunes, and it's on Spotify, and it's all over the place. I think Apple Music has it, so does Amazon. And I wrote this one with Chris Eaton and his wife Abby from England. And I actually got to take it to England with me a couple years ago and sell it like crazy, and they got to come watch one of the shows. And I kind of love this song because really, this one really is kind of just like, my kids love it, because if you're having a day where everything is just not working, you know, it's like us, it's just one of those days. But the take on this, with this song is just, when you're having one of those days, instead of getting down about it, to just be like, bring it on. Like, just bring it.
All right, bring it on for us. Jessica Ridley on Nashville Access.
There's no denying it, no point in fighting it anyway. Bring on the next disaster, bring on the pouring rain. My happy ever after is gonna have to wait. Go on and steal my thunder, I'm dancing anyway. My happy ever after is gonna have to wait. I'm every one of those
Very cool.
That's why your kids like it, 'cause you get
They get to sing along.
Isn't that what they say if you want to have a hit record? Do a lot of
Yeah.
and that-
So catchy.
Yeah. Now you're originally from southern Alberta.
Yes, I am.
Better weather down here.
Except for yesterday, yes.
Yeah, a couple of tornadoes blew through.
I actually
yesterday.
went through one.
Yeah, but you said your neighbor lost their trampoline. I don't think it was the weather. It's thieving
Yeah.
gymnasts.
Yeah. I definitely rolled my eyes when you said that.
Yeah, welcome to my
What's new? Yeah, it was pretty rough yesterday. I'm telling you, the kids and I, it was like the time they were supposed to be getting on the bus,
Mhm.
and I went out on the porch. I said, we're not sending you to school right now. Let's just chill and see what happens. We went on the porch, and they're in their underwear still, and I'm like in my jammies, and we're looking around. It's like, ooh, it doesn't look very nice. And I'm not kidding. We shut the door and locked it, and within 30 seconds, it was that video you saw
Yeah.
where it's just like,
Your trees were all bent
yeah,
over.
and
in
it's
the back.
swirling. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like, I think
Yeah.
this is a tornado.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of, I'm taking videos while they're like in the
Yeah.
closet freaking out.
That's what happens now. If there's a disaster, people will shoot it instead
And
of.
I've always been like that
Yeah.
because I'm like
Yeah.
obsessed with weather stuff.
Well, when I first moved here too, it was like I didn't know about a tornado siren, so the weather's bad. I just go outside to look at it. Duh.
But yes, the weather is much better here. I love it. I'm the 110 and humid girl. Bring it on.
Yeah, same here. Well, except the girl part.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
some days.
How is it when you're playing?
I was gonna say his wife's back here like making these comments. He just said he's a girl, and she said some days.
Moving right along. When you're doing covers, is that hard? Just constantly doing covers for tours, or
No.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
Because I really love when people are loving it.
Yeah.
So you play a song no one's heard before, they're just kind of like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
cool. And you play Don't Stop Believing, the whole place turns around and looks at you, and you're like,
Yeah, I turn around and walk out because it's Journey.
well, shut up.
But you become the star.
Yeah, exactly. And like, what? There's a reason those songs are famous
Yeah.
and popular. It's because people love them and they're amazing. So I just like, a lot of people down there get sick of singing the same old
Yeah.
songs. I could sing Dreams by Fleetwood
Yeah.
Mac like 8 times a day in a
Yeah.
row because like people stop and they listen and they love it. And
See, I've always felt as an artist and a songwriter, if you're performing all these huge songs all the time, you can't help but pick up the stuff that made them huge.
that too.
And
Helps my songwriting.
your vocals, you're learning, you're building range and dynamics and all that kind of stuff. That to me, that just
Man,
makes sense.
You're so right. Like the education I've got singing downtown,
Mhm.
because it's a pretty low key atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's just there to drink and have a good time. So if you mess up, no one's heckling you, and no one's writing an article about it in a newspaper.
Yeah.
And it gives you a major learning opportunity to be like, oh, okay, so when I do that, that happens. Don't do that again.
Mhm.
And have you ever heard like the 10,000 hours thing?
No.
It's in a book, and I can't remember where or what now, but it's something I think about a lot. And they say that it takes 10,000 hours to become a true professional at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I figure with my last 4 years of literally every weekend playing for 4 hours a time, sometimes 8 and sometimes 12 in a row, I'm getting there. Like I'm getting to my 10,000 hours of singing in front of people.
Cool.
So.
Thanks for coming and talking to us.
Yeah.
This is cool. It's neat to get a kind of behind the scenes look at the other end of Nashville.
I still love it here.
Her name is Jessica Ridley. Go check her out on Facebook, all her social media and her website and all that kind of stuff. And buy her music.
Yeah, please.
We say this all the time. When you stream it, artists get like 0.0000001 per stream. When you buy the music, they actually get paid to do it. So go and buy it. It's really good. Thanks for joining us this week. Thank you.
Thank
We
you
love
for having me.
See you later.